In a world full of math and crime, an unlikely hero shall emerge from a shell. But what he doesn't know is that an ancient evil force shall rise against him.
Okay, I have a bomb right here, but I don't know how long it'll take until it explodes. So should I use the exponential or logarithmic formula?
I would recommend the exponential function because it will make the bomb explode faster. It has an equation of 3 to the power of x, and since I said it explodes faster, it would have a steeper curve vertically. It has an asymptote of y equals 0. The domain is all real numbers, while the range is y is greater than 0. It can also be translated by the formula 3 to the power of x minus h plus k. H moving it left and right, k moving it up and down.
Oh, it looks like the logarithmic graph reflects over the y equals x line.
So the thing about the logarithmic function is that it has a formula of log base 3 of x. It has a steeper curve horizontally, therefore you don't want to use it if you want to time a bomb. It will explode slower. It has an asymptote of x equals 0. The domain is x is greater than 0, while the range is all real numbers. And it can also be translated by the formula log 3 base of x minus h plus k.
Okay, let's go with exponential then. Yay.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. Harrison?
The sine graph starts at the origin for the equation y equals sine theta. The equation for the period is 2 pi over b. The absolute value of a is the amplitude, and b is the number of cycles. The period is 2 pi over 1. The amplitude is 1, so the highest point is 1 and the lowest is negative 1. These hills will be 2 cycles. To find the 4 points, you need to divide the period in half, divide that in half again, and find 3/4 of that. The sine function can also be translated by x minus h plus k. Or should I use the cosine function because they look the same, except the cosine graph is a bigger curve. They have different starting points because the cosine graph begins at the amplitude, which is the highest point, or the lowest point, if the equation is negative. They also use the same formula to find the period and to find the points in the same way. It can be also translated the same way. A linear function has 3 formulas: slope, intercept formula, point slope form, and standard form. The slope is rise or run. There are 4 types of slopes: positive, negative, zero, and undefined slopes. Slopes of parallel lines are equal and the slopes of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals of each other.
Tell me the absolute value function.
I'll never tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Give me a piece of paper. Well, if you look here, the negative is a reflection over the x-axis by a factor of 2. And it also goes to the left, to the right, because it's a positive 2, and it goes up 3 because it's a positive 3. And if it's 1/2 here, it would be a vertical compression.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Harrison, what happened to you?
Oh, I got hurt.
Oh, is this a bomb?
Yeah, this is the bomb.
How do I defuse it?
Here, give me a second. Well, this is how you defuse the bomb, see? Okay, so if this one is, the degree of this one is less than this one, then there's no horizontal, the horizontal asymptote is 0, y equals 0, and if this one is greater than this one, then there's no horizontal asymptote. And if this one is equal to this one, then it's the number in front of this one over this one, and that's the horizontal asymptote. And then holes are like when there's the top is the same as the bottom, but there's none in this case, and vertical asymptote is whatever numbers make the bottom equation is 0. So in this case, -2 and 2. And then y, if you want to find the y-intercept, you put in 0 for all the numbers, and the x-intercept is you put 0 in for the top 2.
Alright, thank you. And how do you refuse the bomb? Now that I defuse the bomb, how do I rearm it with a smaller blast radius?
Well, in this case, you would use the tangent function, and the function is y equals tan pi beta. So the pi over b is the period, which is pi over pi, which equals 1. And then to find the points, you do 1 divided by, you divide 1 by half, which is 1/2. Then you go to 0, and then -1/2. And then the asymptotes, which are these, they are the first and the third points. And negative pi over 2b to pi 2b is 1 cycle. So negative 1/2 to 1/2 is 1 cycle.
Alright, correct. Thank you.
The only way that he could get up these stairs is if he uses the cubic function. The formula for the cubic function, or at least the parent one, is the cube root of x. And this can be translated in multiple ways. It can be stretched by any number, or it can be translated left to right by h, and up and down by k. Now for this function, the domain and range would be all real numbers.
Now I'm going to use these 3 functions to create chaos to destroy the entire world. Starting with quadratic systems, the equation I have here is y equals x squared plus 2x plus 3. To find the x value, you'd use the equation negative b over 2a, which in this equation would turn out to be -1. And to find the y value, you'd plug in the x value into the equation, which would get you y equals 2. So your vertex would be -1, 2. And the axis of symmetry is x equals -1. And the graph would be pointing up because it's a positive graph. The next is square root function, and the equation I have here is y equals -1/2 rad x minus 3 plus 1. The vertex would be +3 and +1 because of the translations, and it would be going down because it's a negative graph. The last function I have is cubic function. The equation I have is y equals x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus 27. You would factor by grouping to find out the zeros of the function, and you would have the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 3 squared. You would graph this by plotting the x values. If there's an odd multiplicity, then you'd go through the point, but if it's even, then you just touch it and keep going.
I'm the hero that's gonna ruin your plan.